Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by Abso Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. By Sirius Satellite Radio. By State Farm, providing insurance and financial services. And by Chevrolet. Chevy drives the Motor City. See your Detroit area Chevy dealers today or log on to DetroitAreaChevyDealers.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. Well, the Wolverines did not play this weekend. It was their bye week. So you're just rested and ready to go.
I'm a new man.
You're a new man, huh?
Hopefully our players are too.
Do you find yourself during a bye week, kind of your body's on a different schedule, and you're going, I need something to do, and I don't have it to do?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happens to you, Jim. You don't realize, there's not quite the sense of urgency that there is during a game week, but certainly we had a lot of things to work on, a lot of things to do, and trying to get better.
Yeah, one of the things you said last week was this bye week comes at a perfect time because you can get some people healthy. How has the health of the Wolverines come along? You got some guys getting back, particularly a guy like Mike Hart and a guy like Lamar Woodley.
Well, really, we'll know Tuesday when we go out to practice. But I think everybody has had a chance, to get healthier. The question is whether they're healthy or not to go in and play well, and we won't know that. But certainly I think it came at a good time for us academically and a lot of other reasons.
Yeah, talk about that, where people think you don't play, the kids have time off. Well, they really don't, because you have an opportunity during this bye week to focus in on some things like academics with the entire team, right?
Well, they had an opportunity on Monday to be off, and Thursday they lifted, and Friday. So they've got time to meet with professors. They've got time to write some papers and do some things that, with some time that they normally don't have.
What about you?
Me?
Do you write papers?
Well, I've watched a lot of tape. Our coaches were on the road recruiting Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Coaches get out and recruit during a bye week and look at a lot of high school, don't they?
Yeah, no question. It gives us an opportunity to go in, and we can't visit face-to-face off campus with a prospective student athlete, but we can talk to their coaches, we can watch practice. So there's a lot of contacts there that can be invaluable in terms of the guys that we're going to be bringing in for visits here in late in the season and in December.
So did you get to stay home? Did you watch much football? And did any of your teams win? Which you said last week you're the worst picker of games of anybody.
Jim, I still have bad luck.
You're a bad handicap?
Yeah, I am.
Well, that's no good.
But it's fun.
Did you get out to dinner?
I know one thing. Being a fan is frustrating. It's frustrating to sit in front of that TV.
So now you know how we feel.
Yeah, I know.
Now you know how the other half feels.
Yeah.
Did you yell at a coach for making a bad call?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the dumbest call I've ever seen. What is he thinking?
Now he gets to know exactly how we feel. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the youngsters who've made big contributions to the Wolverines this year. But first, we hear from freshman Mike Massey, who says the wait to play is still well worth it.
It's a lot more fun. It's it's great. You go through high school and you play every year and you play every weekend, and then you come to college and you get to sit out here and you don't get to play. So it's to get on that field this year has just been it's been awesome.
It's amazing. I expected. I told myself that I was going to play this year, but I didn't know it was going to be like this. It's just I really had to step up and just mature fast, and just have fun, really.
You hear from a freshman like Brandon Harrison, Lloyd, and that's one of the things you as a coach, sometimes going into the year you don't think Brandon's going to see a lot of time unless it's just experience time at the end of games. Then all of a sudden they have to step in because of injury. From a coach's perspective, how do you get them ready?
Well, I think it starts with the fact that they're willing to come in the summer and learn some things so that they've got a foundation when you start practice. I think Ron English has done a great job with them. But, there's no question, Jim, to think that a guy, particularly at safety, because it's a lot like quarterback, there's so many things happening before the ball snapped, and if you're out of position, if you're not lined up right, you got some problems defensively. So Brandon Harrison and Jamar Adams, another young guy, but it's something that when it happens, as a coach, you appreciate how difficult it is to come in and play well. And certainly Brandon's done that.
Well, let's take a look at some of the youngsters that have contributed. Alan Branch is a sophomore, but he just gets better every game, doesn't he?
He's had a great year, and he's built upon a foundation. He's played defensive end. He's played at nose guard. He plays over the guard. So there's no positions in there he hasn't played. I think he's going to be a great player, Jim.
And redshirt freshman Will Johnson has helped you up front, along with young freshman Terrence Taylor.
Well, Will is a guy that is playing his first year after knee surgery, and he still had some after effects. I'm confident next fall he's going to be a wonderful player. And Terrence Taylor is a young freshman that's got a lot of experience. And Tim Jamison here has had a great year since missing the first 3 or 4 games with an injury, but he's been a real factor for us.
Brandon Logan, another freshman, also had to fill in at linebacker during some injuries. And John Thompson out of Detroit really helped you against Iowa.
Well, he stepped in there and replaced Chris Graham at a position that John has not worked at. So he did a wonderful job in that game. He's done a great job on special teams, and he's had a wonderful year.
And Chris Graham, of course, is a kid that, everybody expected to play.
Well, Jim, he's not the biggest guy, but he's very, very active, and he's really made a lot of plays because he has great instincts for the ball.
Morgan Trent also getting in and playing a lot of nickel.
Well, he played came here as a wide receiver, asked to move the defense and during the spring, and really has made rapid progress. Going to be a very good football player.
And here are the 2 young safeties that have done such a great job, Brandon Harrison and Jamar Adams.
Well, I can't say enough for the job they've done in some big games on the road, stepped in and got us into the right defenses. And here, Jamar made a great play against Penn State there to save a touchdown.
Well, you lost, Engelman and Behringer in the same game, and these 2 youngsters had to come in and play safety, and they've really answered the bell, haven't they?
No question. Jim, when you get an opportunity to play in big games and have some success, then what that does for you is it's hard to explain in terms of the confidence that is created by that.
Did you expect that many youngsters that we just showed on the defensive side to play and contribute as much as they have this year?
Well, I think we expected some of them to help in special teams. I would have dreamt that we're going to have those guys starting games in the middle of the season. No.
Now, it's amazing what depth means and how youngsters now have to be ready to play quickly enough.
No question.
Because of injury. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Offensive line was hurt with injury. You had to get Alex Mitchell ready.
Well, Alex has practiced at guard and at tackle and even some at center. I don't know where he's going to end up, but I think next fall you'll see him turn into an excellent football player.
And we knew about true freshman Kevin Grady.
Well, Kevin came in the spring and learned a lot of things. He's had some things to learn. It's everybody thinks being a tailback's easy, just running the football, but finding the holes and learning all the different protections, those are things that are difficult. And Max Martin is a guy that we still think is going to be an excellent player. He's had some problems hanging on to the football, but he's a talented guy.
Mike Massey, a tight end, Pat's brother, has contributed lately, and also Doug Dutch.
Well, Doug is another one of those young guys that didn't play a year ago, has got some valuable experience. And Mike Massey got his first touchdown a week ago against Northwestern. We think he's going to be a good player.
And Antonio Bass, you can see how this kid can be a weapon.
Well, he's going to be an exciting player here, and we've tried to find some ways to get him the football here. And he's made some very, very big plays, particularly a great play up at Michigan State in their first touchdown drive.
How about Mario Manningham? Did you expect this out of him, this freshman?
Well, Mario is one of those guys that came in and spent the entire summer here. And quite honestly, in listening to our players talk about how fast he was and how well he caught the ball, I knew from watching film in high school, I saw him play basketball, I knew he was a great athlete. But I think he's surpassed everybody's expectations.
Again, same question. On offense, did you expect as many to contribute? Maybe the offensive line, too, has been one of those where it's been hurt with injury. Jake Long going down, and then Matt Lentz at one period of time.
Well, Jim, I think, what you try to do with a team is convince every guy that to be ready. And if he practices hard and works hard, and certainly there were a lot more opportunities that presented themselves than I would have expected, but But I think in the long run, it makes us a better team.
It does, because it gives those depth players quality time so that that experience can show through when they get a chance to play.
Well, absolutely, and you know from playing here, you know, when you talk about quality experience, playing in games where every play's important, where you're on the road, I mean, those are things you can't buy.
When you play in a game when it's still on the line, that's when the eyes get a little bit bigger. You're on the sideline, you can see, especially with youngsters, they've got to be able to experience that, and so that they get comfortable in that situation.
And when you can be in those positions as a young player, that's how you develop confidence, that's how you learn from mistakes, and that's how you build a foundation that enables you to be a good player.
And you can help the coach have confidence in you. So if you go out there and play well, he's more willing to say, okay, let's go put him in there and throw him in the fire.
Well, there's no question, and truthfully, earning the confidence of the coach, because you know it's a competitive situation. If you don't play well, if you don't know what to do, then you also understand that then the next time somebody else is going to get a chance.
And the other thing that does is it helps those kids concentrate and work harder in practice, because they know that's where I'm going to learn how to do the right thing when I get in the game.
No question. And the reward of playing, of course, that's always a stimulus to better things.
Absolutely. Well, we heard Mike Massey talk about that. When we come back, we'll meet offensive tackle Adam Stenavich. But first, we hear from Jerome Jackson, who says the bye week is a good thing.
I need the bye week, so I'm happy that it came when it came. My body is kind of beat up a little bit, so I needed this week to recuperate my body, and now I feel good.
Most young men who come to Michigan to play football have a pretty good idea what Wolverine football is all about. Some young men, though, like starting tackle Adam Stenavich, who hails from Marshfield, Wisconsin, aren't up to speed like some others. When Adam arrived for his recruiting visit, Ann Arbor was pretty much a mystery.
I really had no idea what I was getting myself into when I came here. I really didn't know that Michigan was like the best, like in terms of wins and winning percentage and all that stuff, and conference championships. I knew they were a good football team, but I really didn't know quite to the scale that it really is. So I kind of got lucky when it comes to that.
Now Adam knows all about Michigan, and his 3 years as a starter in the offensive line is about talent and not about getting lucky. Now as a senior leader, Adam and his teammates must call on their character to carry them through some rough times. Despite the disappointments of this season, Stenavich is not one to give in. His resolve, like the rest of this team, remains unshaken.
I've never been through a season like this, but I think now more than ever, the senior leadership is most important. So everybody, we all just gotta look at ourselves, make sure we're all doing the right things, and just focus on winning. Because I think we have a good football team. We have a very good football team if we play up to our potential. And we just haven't done it in certain games this year.
It's at times like these when the great tradition of Michigan comes to the aid of young men struggling to find answers. Adam Stenavich will tell you the tradition he never knew about when he arrived on his recruiting visit is front and center right now.
It opens your eyes. You actually see what it means as you play, and you see the players, you meet the guys who came through, and you just see how people played in the past. And some of the coaches were former players, you know. Just the pride that you have for playing for Michigan is something that you can't really duplicate anywhere else. So it's a great honor, and I'm happy that I made the right choice.
You know who else is happy he made the right choice? Lloyd Carr.
Well, Adam Stenavich had a wonderful career, Jim, and he's a quality guy and has done a lot of good things.
They say left tackle is one of the key spots in any offensive line. He's been a guy, and a couple of times this year, he got rolled up on his ankle, he's had his back, and yet this guy's a warrior because he never stays out of the line.
No, I mean, you know, twice he's come out of there, and both times I didn't expect him to go back in. And I look out there, and he's back in, and that speaks to his toughness. And, you know, he's been so consistent, Jim. He's a guy that, you know, you're not going to miss him until he's gone because he's smart, he's tough, and he's done a great job.
And in the offensive line, that's so critical is consistency.
No question.
Week in, week out, you know you can count on him, right?
That's right.
It's Adam Stenavich. When we come back, we will get back into the season because Indiana is next week for the Wolverines. Before we scout Indiana, we hear from Jake Long, who says you can't take anybody lightly in this league.
Oh, absolutely not, because, you know, if you do, we're going to get beat. So we got to just focus on Indiana right now and go beat them and then focus on Ohio State.
I don't know you were going to finally take control of the game. I'd have given you a day off a long time ago. Hey, what's your promise that you'll be smart this weekend? You know, stay in town, academics, get your rest, and I'll see you Tuesday.
Even after a victory over Northwestern, you're still pounding on them. You're still coaching them, aren't you?
Well,
you're coaching them up.
We're in the season, Jim, and you know how that goes.
Yeah, I do. It's something else. And you've now got to, you know, kind of regather and get into game week mode, don't you?
Well, you know, the way I look at it is, you know, I think you can make too much of the bye week. The truth is that we've done some things in the off week, hopefully, that are going to help us improve, because certainly offensively there's some things we need to do. If we can stop giving up big plays, I think our defense has really come along, and our kicking game is sound. So what we've got to do is come out and play our best game of the year against Indiana.
And Indiana comes into Michigan Stadium with a pretty good football team, with some pretty good athletes, and a new coach in Terry Hepner, who I know you respect a great deal.
Well, Terry was, we played against him when he was a head coach at Miami of Ohio, and he's an outstanding football coach, done a good job in putting in an entirely new offensive system. And this kid, Blake Powers, has put up some great numbers, 21 touchdown passes going into the weekend, and they've been very successful offensively.
And a running back who averages almost 5 yards a carry, which is pretty nice in anybody's league.
Well, Jim, they're going to throw the ball first, and that opens up their passing game. That's the way they've attacked the offensive philosophy.
And this guy Hardy, talk about a receiver, he's 6'7".
Well, he's an Indiana basketball player. That'll tell you all you need to know about him. He's averaging 15 yards a catch. He's a guy that got great ability.
And on defense, guys that have seemingly been there forever, Adeyanju, Pinozo, and Kyle Killian, linebackers and defensive linemen.
Well, Pinozo moved over from offense where he played a year ago and has had an excellent year. He's had an injury, and I don't know what his status is, but Killian's an outstanding player.
Does Indiana bring into the game offensively? You talk about a new offensive system. Are they spread, or are they more like a conventional I formation type of team?
Well, they're a spread offense. I mean, they're going to give you a lot of different formations.
They like
throw the football. They're a lot like Northwestern.
A lot like Northwestern?
Yeah. A lot of the same plays. They're not the same offense, but they give you a lot of the same problems.
I would think that Powers, the quarterback, is probably not the running threat that Bazanet might be?
No, he is not, and so that they've adapted the spread to a guy that can throw the football, and he's 21 touchdown passes. That's significant.
From your perspective, and you touched on it a little bit as we went in, during the bye week, what were the areas that you worked on where you felt your team needed the most improvement as you go forward in these final two games?
Well, I think a lot of the things in our passing game, our timing is not what it needs to be. We've cut some routes off short. We've not been where we needed to be, and looking back at the Northwestern game, that was a problem, particularly on third down. So there's some things there. We've got to do a better job finding the holes. We've left some yards on the field. And defensively, with the exception of giving up big plays, but those big plays are what get you beat. So we've had a lot of things to work on, Jim, and of course get some guys back healthier.
Right. As a coach, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, and that's where you started, you were a defensive secondary coach, where is the first place you look to say, okay, this is what we have to do to not allow that big play? Is it tackle, make sure that you're fundamentally sound and not getting the guy, making somebody miss?
Well, I think more than anything else, it's being where you're supposed to.
Pierre Woods, whose Saturday includes a game